So, I work as a night shift security guard at a high school. It's huge, and the empty halls can get unnervingly quiet. One part of the building, the old wing, has always felt off. Built in the 50s, it still has that eerie vibe. Our janitor, Frank, has been here for over 20 years. He's quiet, a bit strange, keeps to himself, and usually does his cleaning rounds late at night. One evening, as I was patrolling, I heard this faint creaking noise coming from a classroom in that wing. It was around 2 a.m., right about the time Frank would be wrapping up his shift there. So I figured it was him. But as I got closer, the noise stopped abruptly. I shrugged it off, assuming he'd just finished up and left. As I turned down the hall, though, I spotted a shadow moving quickly out of the corner of my eye, darting from one classroom to another. My pulse quickened, but I convinced myself it was just Frank. But when I called out, there was no answer, only silence. I continued down the hallway, and the creaking started up again, this time louder and coming from a room at the end. I stepped inside, flicked on my flashlight, and saw Frank standing in the far corner, facing the wall. "Frank," I called, a bit louder this time. No response. He didn't turn or acknowledge me. He just stood there, arms hanging in this strange, slack way. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. Then, he moved. But instead of turning, he tilted his head back so that I could see his face's reflection in the window. It wasn't Frank's face. The eyes were too wide, hollow, staring past me with this unnatural grin that seemed to stretch too far. The lights suddenly flickered, and in that split second, he was gone. The room was empty. I couldn't believe what I'd just seen. I stumbled back out of the room, practically running down the hall until I found one of the other janitors. When I told him about Frank, he looked at me like I was insane and said, "Frank? He left hours ago. He wasn't feeling well." That night, I checked the security footage. I couldn't see anyone in that classroom, only shadows shifting across the walls. To this day, I avoid the old wing when I'm on duty. Every once in a while, though, I'll still hear that same faint creaking sound, just barely echoing down the hall.